Be honest. When you think about your finances right now, what's the first emotion that comes up? Not the plan, the feeling. Welcome to the Barney Code. It's your host, KB, and my co-host, Keon, the Warden Scholar, Ivy League Scholar. What's good, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed, man. I'm happy to see another beautiful day. I'm glad to be here recording and talking to you and talking to the audience and having this conversation today.
Hey, it's gonna be a good one. You saw how I came in, man. It's
Yes.
all right. So how was your week? How was your week?
Man, my week was really good. My week was really good. One reason that it was really good was I would say at work, I got something that's extremely valuable, and that's clarity. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And so, because it's one thing when you're ambitious. You want to achieve all these different things. You want to be helpful in all these different ways, especially if you're in a new role. Speaking to all those people that might be able to relate that are in a new role, you're looking for all these different ways you can help. And there are a lot of different fires that you can put out, but it's best to figure out, first of all, what are the fires that your manager wants to put out? What are the fires that your manager's manager wants to put out? You mess around and go figure those out and go knock those out. You know what I'm saying? It's not about being the best fireman. It's about being the most focused one. That's so that's what I'm excited about this week. So
Yeah, man. That's deep right there. Man, that's applicable to like regardless on what age you are, man. Hey, what they say, help people. Dang, what's the saying? If you help people get what they want, you can have everything that you want.
mm,
And so
I like
that's
that.
that when you said that, that's what I heard. Because a lot of times you're trying to solve stuff, then it's like, that's not even a problem for me. I appreciate it though. That was nice. Uh,
Right.
yeah. For me, I had a good week. I had a good week. Work front, work front was cool. We're at the end of the year, end of the fiscal front, and so gonna have good eval, obviously. So got that news today. I mean, not today, but earlier this week. So that's a positive. Working out, my workouts going strong, so feeling good there. Still getting stuff for the house. We just moved in, so we're about a we man, time is I'm looking at the date. Wow, time flies. So we've been in here a month and about 2 weeks now. And I would say we are out of 100% in terms of the house being where we want it to be. I say we're about 70%, 70, 75, which is really good progress for a month and 2 weeks. So we
Now you
said
gotta
we
now hold on. I was gonna say you gotta break that down for people that like me that have only moved into an apartment. Cause I'm like a month and a half. That's a long time to move into an apartment. But like break it down for people that's never moved into a house. Like why does it take so long?
well, we planned we said, you know what? We're gonna take our time and we're going to stretch it out to about 6 months. But we got in here and we're pretty lean with our finances. And so we never live at the financial threshold. And so we just decided we got in here, we like, all right, we're gonna stretch out 6 months, but then we start, my wife got excited, I got a little excited, and we said, you know what? We don't really spend a lot of money like that. Let's just go ahead and uh, fix the place up because we was just gonna take our time and stay because the costs start adding up. You don't even realize you a rug here, a sofa, a new table, uh, especially if you have multiple bathrooms, the curtains, things that you don't think about.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, we good, we back. So it's if you're a little techy, you can go work through it. But anyway, the cost. So you know, desks, everything that you can think about, blinds. Sometimes when you're renting, you come in, it's already blinds there. But if you get a new construction, new build, sometimes it comes with the blinds, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it comes with appliances, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you can go
Mm,
in, and so it's all these micro costs. It's all these micro costs. Maybe you don't want some of your old pictures that you had hung up on the wall, so you get some more. And before you know it, it can increase. Before you know it, you 20 grand in, whether you use the credit card or not. And hopefully you cash flowed it. And before you know it, you done got a new house. But now, and what's meant to be a blessing turns into a nightmare because you in over your head. And that's why we were saying, let's just stretch it out 6 months. But we already super conservative anyway. So even with us condensing the time, it's still uncomfortable. It still was like a little bit uncomfortable for us. But from the money side of everything was saying y'all are good. Like, it's fine. We know that you're spinning at a velocity that y'all aren't accustomed to on a regular basis, but it's only temporary. So it's not a big deal.
right.
And also when you got the income coming in, you know, it's fine. But yeah, no. So house front is good. Once you get there, you be like, bro, now I know what you're talking. Because the other part that I didn't mention was to you put a down payment down for closing. You brought closing cost, like all that stuff. That's not the furnishing stuff. Like those are two separate things. What has some happen sometimes is people have the down payment money and they have no like to get in that house, and that's it. But that's not this scenario. So and you know what? That's probably a segment for a later day when we get in. We'll get into that later. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So enough of that. Let's you know what? Let's get into this. Let's get into it. Let's stop wasting time. Let's go. Question for you. If you can change one thing about how money was talked about or not talked about in your household growing up, what would it be?
Oh, that's deep. I mean, I definitely would say that, I think a theme that's been common throughout my whole life that I didn't even realize it, but I've always been curious. People, I wouldn't describe myself as smart first. I would call myself curious first, and that's
Hmm.
why I had great relationships with teachers in high school and, in undergrad and stuff, because certain teachers would really reward that curiosity. But something that I've learned recently is that the parents are the first teachers, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I ended up going to business school. Part of that was because I saw you get your MBA, and so that made me really enamored with business. And so, the point is, from a young age, I was really impressionable, and so I definitely would have loved to, not to say that they need to hand the reins over to me like over in Young Sheldon and have me doing everything, being the CPA, but I just wish that in our culture there was more of a tendency to include kids and say, hey, so this is what bills are. This isn't grown folks' business and you need to stay out of it. Like, no, this is what helps the grown folks keep the roof and shelter over our head instead of using it as ammunition, emotional ammunition. Like, oh, you should be happy and don't question us. Don't worry about all this. Don't question us. Just be happy that for love is the fact that we do this for you and calculate these costs for you and worry about this behind your back so that you don't have to worry about it. Which I get it. That I can see how that's a form of love. Like, but that's also like avoidance and shielding us and babying us. But once we get past the age of 6, 7, 8, and can do multiplication, division, and can bust out a calculator, now bring us to the table, and you don't got to show us the exact numbers, so that we go. You don't want your kids going to school repeating the exact numbers, but maybe start teaching us the concepts of. Because I will say our parents did a great. Well, me and my dad did a decent job with me of like doing flashcards and teaching me math, addition, subtraction. So then I would just say, with my generation, I'm gonna try to go the next step forward and start introducing the more complex concepts. Like, why are we learning addition and subtraction and division and all that and multiplication?
Okay. And how does that multiplication tie into the money?
Right.
I'm asking you.
Oh, you asking me? I mean, well, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, you know, I mean, the question is going to be less and less as AI gets more and more because people going to use their brain less and less. But I mean, I remember back in the day, that's not that long ago. But you know, you go to school and you got to bust out a pencil and paper. Let's say all the computers are down. How are you going to calculate how much money is in your bank account? Like how are you going to run a budget? And not just a budget as in, okay, I got these bills this week and I got food, but like how are you going to plan you and your family's financial future for the next month, 2 months, 6 months if you can't do multiplication, if you can't even do 10 times 10? Which you got, if you can't do that, that's cool. I'm not judging, but you okay, let's get there. You know, there are resources, especially if I'm speaking to you and if this is applying to you, it's never too late, especially nowadays with AI. I mean, you can mess around and teach yourself anything.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll answer the question. What's one thing about money? So if you could change one thing about how money was talked about or not talked about in your household growing up, what would it be? Easy for me to talk about money.
Right.
And you said you don't have to give me the exact numbers. No, give me the exact numbers. That's real life. You don't have to give me theory. To your point, maybe it's when you're 12. Like maybe when you're smaller, talking about money in a way where you're helping them budget the money you give them or something like that. But at some point, include allowing kids a seat at the table to learn about money. If you don't teach them, who's you gonna leave it to the world to teach them about money and risk them not knowing about money? Because it's not okay to say, well, I didn't know. So you're gonna stay in darkness and ignorance because what you don't know, there's a strong chance your kids is not going to know as well because you said something critical. It starts in the home in terms of education. It's really not the school's responsibility. Like they're secondary, but it's like things that you really want to instill in your kids. That's something that I would have liked to see more of growing up is talk and not talking about it from the standpoint of turn that off, you're gonna run the light bill up. Turn this off,
Right.
the bill gonna go up. That you running it too long, turn the TV, like not that conversation. That's more of that for me, from my perception, that's money is tight, money is hard to come by. We need to squeeze every penny ounce. And so it's coming from a place of lack, fear, concern about money. And it doesn't mean you don't have your mind on your money and knowing where every dollar goes. So it's not really about that. It's just you, as a kid, you're very perceptive. Like you're paying attention. You're like, why are you yelling about that? What, like, why are you so
Right.
why are you so charged up about that? Oh, do we not have enough money? Or and so so is that so that's kind of where my mind goes. So that's one thing, just talk about money. You know what, I'm gonna ask you a follow-up question. When's the last time you made more money and felt genuinely more secure versus when making more just raised your spending and left the anxiety exactly where it was?
Oh, that's deep. That's
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer from a younger perspective. Um, so I'm at an undergrad about 3 years, almost 3.5 years. But yeah, so I said that to say I've had two pay raises in turn. I've left jobs twice. I've had to, just different circumstances, but the first one, I didn't feel it as much, I'll say. Because I also moved cities. I moved from one city that the cost of living wasn't as much as the second city. So that second city started eating up that raise. So it was like I felt like I was making the same amount. But but we made it work. But man, the second jump, it was crazy because it didn't really, I mean, it was a good jump in pay, but what it really changed for me was the trajectory. But that's a conversation for another conversation. We were talking about how did it, not making sure that you didn't. 'Cause I think that I felt, I don't want to say I fell victim to, but I definitely, I still save money, but I definitely raised my spending. Like I give a prime example. Before my first paycheck hit, because I knew if I didn't do it by the first paycheck, I knew it wasn't gonna get done. So I said, let me just do this. And so I said, man, I've never ever been consistent in the gym. I've worked out. I've been to gyms. I've had gym memberships. I've had workout buddies. Um, even when I studied abroad, they had a little gym in the hotel. I went to the gym, when I was bored, but I ain't never been consistent. So I said, man, let me get a trainer and just see what's up. Like, I mean, I've had a trainer before. I mean, don't let me not say that. I've had a trainer for 2 or 3 months, but I want to see what it look like more long term. And so before that first paycheck hit, I saw how you can pull it up. When you're in corporate America, you can pull it up before it hit.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what is it going to look like? When is it going to drop? Is it in the right account? Doing all that. But long story short, I said, okay, this is how much it's going to be. What does personal training cost? And this is the package. Okay, that looks reasonable. And then I just went ahead and went with that. But I brought that up because, when I first got it, I thought that personal training was something that you had to keep like forever. And that, I was like, man, this is gonna be a part of me forever. And that's great. And there's probably people that do, but I thought about it and I was like, man, I'm not competing for no like competitions right now. Like I'm not like about to enter a powerlifting competition in the next 6 months or 12 months. And so, and my trainer said something like 2 or 3 months into training that I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, nah, that's not me. He was like, man, actually, maybe by September, he was like, maybe halfway before then we'll go down to, because we were doing 2 sessions. Maybe we'll go down to 1 session a week, and then maybe we'll actually go down to no sessions. Like maybe you'll just be good. And that shocked me. I'm like, usually I'm used to people like they want to latch on and okay, let's
The
get more
territory.
sets. You know what I'm
Run it
saying?
up.
Let's get you 3 and 4. Like let's get you ripped. But he was like, nah, man, I want to see you like build confidence and do it on your own. So I was like, wow. So I started looking at the finances and I was like, I looked at the budget and said, do I really? It came time to renew the training bill, and I said, do I really need to renew that? You know, because I buy packages, you know what I'm saying? So it's like 10 at a time. And so it came time to that last one, and I said, I don't know. I really enjoy the sessions, but I'm not buying these to enjoy the sessions. I'm buying these for progress. And I think it got me
Hmm.
progress and it got me confidence. And so
Nice, nice. So to answer the question, the more money that you're making, you spending more.
spending went up for sure. I would say so.
Yeah, the more money you make, the more you're going to spend.
For sure. For sure.
That's just been my experience. And you talking to somebody that has always like I pay myself first. We talked about it last, and we pay myself first, pay ourselves first. But you just still right now. I'm into. I give you an example. I give you an example. It's crazy how things evolve and change. I got two examples. I love coffee. When you came down, I took you to one of the coffee shops, specialty shop that I like. Bro, it's absolutely ridiculous paying $9-10 for some coffee. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it's so
Yeah, it's getting
good,
crazy.
and it's specialty coffee, and it's a higher grade of coffee, and it's my getaway. Like that's for me, that's like going to the movies. Like it's an experience for me. I enjoy it, and I'm like, hey, it's gonna because I'd be a hypocrite because I buy that latte. Well, for me, I typically get espresso, or I typically been doing espresso a lot lately, just because I not want to mix all that other stuff in there. But so I'm not the one to say don't buy the extra latte, put that money up. I think there's a world where you can do both, because if a latte is stopping you from getting your goals, you probably have an income problem.
Mm,
Because in the grand scheme of things, was it if you get the house coffee, which is probably still high quality, pretty a really good grade, which is better than the Starbucks and some of these other chains, still going to be a better grade of quality coffee. $5, $6. So we're talking, if you go 3-4 times a week, six times four, 24. If $100 a month is stopping you from getting to your goal, it's probably it's probably an income problem. I know a lot of people say it's not what you make, it's what you keep. In my mind, that's partially correct. I would say it's that plus income. And what I've noticed is sometimes you're addressing a symptom and you're not addressing like the actual root. And two things could be true at the same time. Maybe you do need to cut down on that, but you also need to make more money. Because when you make more money, that, funny enough, it kind of solves the problem, because now you're not even having that $100 conversation because you're making more money. Now, here's where it goes crazy. This is my second example. This is where it starts to fall apart, what I just said previously. If you like me, and again, I just so you know, I have a 45% in save to invest rate. So essentially we're pretty close to saving half of everything, that comes in. So that's the person you're talking to. So you're not talking to somebody that's just reckless. So, but where it falls apart is if you start doing stuff when it's not time yet, like this one. So I'm only pointing to myself. Like, so for example, for me, steaks. I love steaks. So I indulge in steaks. I eat steaks several times a week. Those aren't cheap. Sometimes, unless you can get a deal. But I put in the work to be able to afford that. And that's my little luxury. So, but if you trying to do, you doing the coffee, you got that coffee thing, you got the steak thing you're doing, then you got this other thing you do. Now, then it just starts adding up. Then it gets crazy for it. Then that's where, you get a raise, you're spending more, you get a raise, spending more. But see, for me, those are, if I wanted to shut that down, I can shut that down. What really happens is you get a car payment. And you don't just get a car payment, you get a nice whip. So you riding clean, you get the BMW, hey, you riding clean, you get the Hemi. So you make 80, 90, whatever you make. Then you go and get a $75,000 car or a $60,000 car. Like, think about that. That's crazy.
Tesla.
So your car is almost close to your salary. So when you start doing things like that, where you engage in contracts where for the next 5-6 years you're gonna be making this payment, and then you do that, then you get another payment, then you get another payment, like longer term payment. That's when you start getting in over your head. So that's my perspective. As we close this one, drop a comment in the chat of this video. We want to hear from y'all. What's one money belief you grew up with that you've had to unlearn? Just one. Hear from the people. Next up, the mental health tax men pay for being broke.
Wow.
Men's health month is at peak. suicide prevention in local news nationwide. Financial stress is the number one source of stress in America, and men are the least likely to name it as a mental health issue. This segment connects the two conversations that are both trending this week, but have never been in the same room. All right, let's go. Have you ever been in a financial situation genuinely affecting your mental health? And did you name it that at the time, or did it show up as something else?
and and not just did you name it? Did you name it like Martin, like baby, I'm going through something, like how you go bam, like, or did you calmly, rationally, like, man,
Facts.
this is deep. Wow, this is cool. You want me to answer? Are you asking?
Oh, that's the question.
Man, so did you name it?
Yeah.
Man, I definitely. Oh man, I don't even know if I've named it yet. Like that's deep, especially like in the past, like looking back. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. I've definitely I've reflected on my current situation because I'm still building. I'm not where I want to be, but I have goals, and so, like I mentioned earlier, being ambitious. You want yourself to be in 10 different places at once. You want to be in the future and the present and reminiscing on the past, but you got to just really just be grateful for the present and just build right there. And so just you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have a goal and have it accomplished. Have the goal and be patient and work it through. And so that's what I've been working on. And so
Where
I'm sorry,
can you
what'd you
hear me?
say?
I said, so did you have any financial situation where it started impacting your mental health?
Mm,
We gotta
Financial
we gotta be open with the
situations.
people. We gotta talk to the people.
I would just say just plain being in debt, period. Because coming out of undergrad, I didn't take on debt to go to undergrad. So if I'm gonna take like a swimming pool analogy. A lot of people jump into the ocean to get the degree. I'm not judging, but I'm saying like you taught me about this. A lot of people jump into the ocean to get a degree, and then they have to like you get a shovel, use a shovel to get themselves back to shore. Use a paddle. And so I was able to pretty much walk out of undergrad dry. And then as I was, going through the transition, I have some consumer debt. I'm still net my net worth is still I'm still positive, but still I just don't like the feeling of debt. It feels nasty to me. I hate it. And it's stressful and I don't like it feels like
Oh man,
shackles to me.
the Dave Ramsey's out there, but hey, the people that's on that other side, they're gonna be judgy. They're gonna be like, oh man, that ain't bad.
I feel nasty. Like I'm ashamed of myself right now, honestly. That's what I'm working through. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm like, bro, like, I'm having to give myself grace too. Like, bro, like, like I said, you still net worth positive. You transition to make more money and you have a plan to pay it off. That's the key. That's the point. And so, like I said, you can't have the plan to pay it off and have it paid off. Work the plan and get it paid off.
Okay. All right. So for me, financial situations, of course, like of course, man, that feeling, bro. Oof. When you looking at them, when you looking at them digits on the screen, or you get that bill in the mail, it's rough. I've seen over $100,000 in student loan debt. It's it can be debilitating. Back in the I don't know if it's a house that's worth that now these days, but back in the day, that's what houses were worth, bro.
Mm.
A house, but you got it indebted. Could you imagine having that type of debt and then having a job that did not produce enough of an ROI, meaning the income, like that curve path, that degree associated with that debt, and then you're only making like 50K, 40K, and that's, in the trajectory of that career path you might end up at like 80.
Your manager's making 80.
And, right, and maybe you might get to 100, maybe. It's so it's so imagine being in that space and you don't see a way out, but you haphazardly picked a degree. It's one thing to pick a basket weaving degree, as they always say, but it's free and clear. Like you don't have no debt associated. Was like, well, damn, I ain't gonna make no money, but hey, I ain't got no debt either. So all right, whatever, I can figure something out. But imagine to have the debt tied to it, and you don't have the shovel you talked about. Like your shovel is not big enough to, because you want to eventually get past the service and debt part and have interest working for you on the investing side. Where when you're investing, now it's compounding. And so when you're seeing that rate of return on it's working in your favor, because having a student loan debt, you are the asset to the bank. Like you are the asset, you are the payment, like you are the asset, like they're collecting the check, like the check is coming to them. And so you want to find a way to get out of that. And so, but feeling
Why do we
that,
get mad at Monopoly when we got to pay our friend, but we just do it in real life so cash? How happily just giving money out? Why do we do that?
I don't know why we do that. I don't know why we do a lot of things as
That's funny.
people. Like you be in a moment, you don't quite think it all the way through, and you make a decision, and you don't realize, like, you do know that this is like a 6-year decision. You do know, like this decision that you make, it's gonna end years. Going back in myself, I went to school when I was 19. Well, I say 19 because as soon as I went to college, I immediately turned 19. I was older than a lot of my peers in freshman. And in high school, I was like you know how the October baby, like the birthday where you just missed the cutoff, so you got to wait a whole another year. So you already a little bit older than your peers, a little bit, like by like almost a calendar year, almost. And so for me, coming in at 19, going to college, I'm finishing up. I said, I wasn't like you. Well, let me say, it's not that I wasn't like you. Let me say that. It's just that when I first got started, let's just say I was going through the motions and I didn't really care about school like that. Like I never really cared about school. It, I was just following the blueprint of what was fed. Hey, you go to school, get a good job. That you just running the play. And then at some point you realize, like, wait a minute, okay, but there still need to be some intentionality behind this play, because it depends on what I'm looking for if I need to go down that path. Because I might need to, but just doing crazy stuff like getting the max, like getting tuition paid for. I did at the time. I didn't associate refund checks with like loans. Like at some point, you're gonna have to pay this back. You know that, right? In college, we get them checks and we like, oh, hey, it's going down. It's even when I got my checks, I didn't stay on campus. So it wasn't like I was blowing the money. I was just using it to pay for my apartment off campus. So essentially, I was just taking that and paying for housing, and I still worked full time. And so I was, because it wasn't enough to cover everything. But in any event, it wasn't free money. And you find that out after you graduate, and you like, what's that? And you start getting in the mail. You start, Sally Mae. At that time, it was Sally Mae. I don't know if it's still Sally Mae, but Sally Mae. You start getting them Sally Mae letters, and you like, when you're in school, like thinking Like, oh snap, that's a loan. Oh, and so think about that.
Mm,
Being 19 years old, you signing up for stuff. To your point, what we talked about in the I need like somebody to be saying like, hey, you do know that that's gonna have that's you need to make sure you know what you're doing. No, it was I'm so proud of you going to school, but ain't nobody what did I say earlier? I just what do you wish you talked about more? Money. And going to school is also as much as an education conversation, it's a money conversation too. And if you remember how me and you approached when I was telling you about Ivy Leagues, I was like, bro, don't worry about the money yet. Focus on where you want to go because you got the grades, you could do it. So, because there is the other part of being mindful not to only talk about money before you explore your options because you're limiting yourself. You're not even allowing yourself to dream, right? And so I understand the balance, but there is something in the good book said you got to count the costs. Like before you go on a trip, it ain't about having an abundant mindset or a limited mindset. You, how much does it cost to go on the trip? Well, I didn't count the cost to go on the trip of education. No scholarships, no nothing. I think I got a little sprinkle of a little Pell Grant, but wasn't enough. I did a little bit of work study, but it was majority loans. And but you're not realizing you just like, hey, I'm in school, I'm happy, well, at least that's what I'm doing. And I didn't know. Have you ever seen that debt clock just keep running? The debt clock, the debt clock.
mm.
You should look it up. Look up the debt clock one day. And for the audience to look up the debt clock. But my point of bringing that up is like the money just running up, like it just accumulating. And I'm not like each semester that's going by is just accumulating, and I'm not realizing it. Like you seeing the balance, you seeing the balances start to increase, but it wasn't real to me. Like it wasn't real until it got getting your job. It's the most money you've ever made, but then you're looking at one of the highest payments you ever seen in your life, and you're like, ooh,
Mm.
man, like that's high. And then you like, I need to get on. I need to defer this. So I need to defer this. And as a matter of fact, I need to get on the income repayment plan, and I'm repaying this thing forever. And and that's how people get in school, leave school, and be 40 years old with student loan debt that they
Mm.
got in their 20s. I don't have that debt no more. We paid it off, just so you know, it's gone. It's gone. But it could be tough. It could be tough. I know that ain't your experience, so you like, okay, well, I'm just, hey, I hear you, but so it's pretty cool to have the contrasting experiences when it comes to that specifically. Got another question for you. If the men watching right now are quietly carrying financial stress, what's the one thing you want them to hear from two brothers who've been there? And maybe you speak from the consumer side that you say you picked up a little consumer debt. So talk from that side, and then I'll talk from the other side.
Man, I think some good advice. I don't know who said this, but they said once you're in a hole, the best thing to do is just stop digging. I don't know if Dave Ramsey said that, somebody said that. But man, and the best way to stop digging is to just acknowledge that you're in a hole in the first place. I didn't say
Mm,
panic. I didn't say be ashamed. I didn't say, go stress out over it, but acknowledge it, because once you just acknowledge it and get aware, now you can build a plan. You think Tom Brady Tom Brady, and you know what? We humans, so I'm not telling you not to stress. You're like, what do you mean don't stress? That's easier said than done. You didn't stress. You're not stressed out. Didn't you just say you were stressed? But the cool thing about being a man is, in just the bravery in general, is that you don't have to not be stressed. You just have to still do the thing. But you know what I'm saying? You have to just take on the challenge. You know, you had the fun, or you got the pleasure, or whatever you got in exchange for that money. You got it. You got it now. I promise the card didn't swipe itself. If it did, call your company and be like, man, we need to figure out, we filed something fraud, because fraud is real. Fraud happens. But I promise, like, think about what you got that money. Like, think about what you use that money for, and just realize that it's not the end of the world. And you know, shame ain't gonna do nothing about it. Get some real help, get a real plan, and make it happen.
Yeah, and yeah, no, that's real. I'll leave you with this. That feeling that you feel is real. Whatever that is internally, that's a signal. We got signals the same way you drive in a car. You have a signal. The check engine light come on. That's a signal. Well, in our it's still things they don't even understand. And one of the things is, if you feel pressure, stress, it's an indicator of maybe needing to pivot. You know, pivot. So as we come into a segment, you know, drop something in a comment. Drop something in a comment. I'm just switching up my camera. They don't want us to be great, but we gonna keep navigating. We gonna we gonna we gonna navigate. We gonna make it work, even if I need to switch.
They fouling, but the ref ain't call it. But it's all right. We got it. We got another
Yeah,
move.
there we go. Yeah. So we switch. There we go. We back working. So in the chat is men's mental health month, like I mentioned. Say it. One word in the comments. No context needed. We see you. We see you. And just say, hey, you're not by yourself. You're not on the island by yourself. Hey, takes a community. And reach out for help if you need help. Ah, brotherhood versus the hustle lie. Who is actually in your corner right now? Not who do you say in public, but who would genuinely show up if things fell apart tomorrow? That's for you.
Oh, okay, the ball's in my court. Man, that's deep. I mean, I don't know. Outside of you, I gotta cut. I mean, maybe a cousin, but outside of that, especially in my local area, I gotta do a better job of cultivating my local community. You know, I'm out here in New England, and I'm a what they call a transplant. I'm new to the area, so I gotta inject myself. I can't just expect people to just bump into me and then stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted you to answer that question. I'm going to attempt to do something. I don't know if we might even have to edit it out if it don't go our way, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Let me see if I can find it. See if I can find it real quick.
You know, it's deep, man. It's hard, especially I don't know if people in the audience listening. If y'all drop a comment, let us know if y'all have recently moved somewhere, especially right after undergrad. It's hard finding a new community.
So let me see. see. It's too long. I'm not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're gonna keep going because so the context was D Wade. D Wade. They were sitting around having a conversation, just talking about brotherhood. Um, I'm exiting that out. We're not doing that because it's gonna be crazy. But basically, they were talking about brotherhood. Let me see if I can grab some excerpts. Let me see. All right, so going fine. Yeah, so D Wade dropped a long form brotherhood video this week. Men's are responding viscerally. At the same time, grievance hustle content dominates the men's feed. Two opposite answers to the same question. What do men actually need to build something real? So the question I asked you earlier, does that change anything for you? Hearing that
Mm,
commentary.
mm. All
And
right,
now we talking
that's
about
fine.
building. We talking about, building. Like
No,
sure,
that's
I
true.
asked you the question in the context of like who you can reach out to, but maybe I rephrase the converse the who could you reach out to so you can build something together?
Mm. I mean, I think that list that's even shorter. Yeah, that's still you though. I mean, you. Um, I mean, like I'm gonna flip it. I think that list might even. I don't want to say it might be longer. I don't know. It's like the same answer is on both. It's like it's so many like not acquaintances, but people that you fell out of contact with that you're not necessarily like on bad terms with. Y'all just maybe y'all just aren't in contact as much as y'all used to be, especially y'all to move to different areas, and so that's something I'm working on getting better at staying in contact with people. And so I've been starting with family, but now I'm gonna start expanding more to friends and past friends, and just looking for new friends. Period.
Yeah. 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 Definitely area of opportunity ongoing for us as men. So I'm gonna ask you another question. What's the difference between a man who has a team and a man who has people who depend on him? And which one are you?
Oh, okay. The difference between a man who's got a team and a man who's
Yeah.
got people that depend on him. I like that.
Yeah.
My answer comes to, is the man a coach or not? Or is he a tyrant? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Is he developing his team, or is he ruling over his team? And this theme applies to a lot of different themes. I know we're not fathers, but this is like parenthood. You think about like how were you treated as a child? Think about, did your parents treat you with respect? Did they treat you like you were on the same team, or did they treat you as somebody who had to obey them? Did they rule over you? Same thing in relationships. Are you partnering with your wife? And even that's a bad word. Let me not say partner. Are you collaborating, and how can I frame it? Are you treating your wife like she gotta obey you? I don't know if you watch Pop the Balloon. It's funny. Me and my wife, we watch Pop the Balloon sometimes, and something that they be saying, it's funny. They be always be saying the word submissive. And me and my wife was laughing about this yesterday. We was laughing, and she said they always talking about submissive, but they never say about how they're a leader. They just go jump straight to submissive. And it was funny. We were just laughing about that. Like they don't never really. You ask them what they want. Yeah, I want submissive, this, and that. But then you ask them what they provide. So this is to the men. We as two men, we talking to men. Like, think about it. Why would somebody want to follow you? Don't just ask. Don't just talk about what you want, and talk about what you desire. Like, oh, I want this. I want that. Why do you deserve that? Would you follow you? Uh,
No, that's a great point. Being married, I don't even talk. Hey, you need to be submissive to me.
that's
I'm almost wondering, is that like a single talking point,
Right. It's like online speak.
because when you're operating, how can I say this? When you are dedicated to growth, improving, communicating, being open, getting results, failing, but getting back in the lab, like how can I improve that? And fixing it, making righting wrongs, apologizing where appropriate. Hey, I feel short here. It's like it's not like one thing that leads to it's a compilation, and it don't stop. And it's like it repeats. Like once you have some breakthroughs, you have some accomplishments, it's like, okay, do it again. Do it again.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like you play games or something, but it's like uh, you you never arrive. And continue to get better. And you were talking about from a career standpoint of being ambitious, but you should also have that same energy for your relationship. Because
Mm.
the same way you have to go get coaching and training for your career to level up, you also have to do the same thing in your relationships. Did you some of the skill sets that you need to develop, you hadn't seen that growing up? Maybe you have, and if you have, that's fantastic. But if you haven't, there's no what I didn't learn, but what I need to know so I can operate today. And that's called understanding what your current blind spot or gaps are, and just get in the lab and work. What does that look like, Ken? What are you talking about? I'm gonna tell you. For example, during the pandemic, I had a coach, Coach K. That was his name. I wanted to improve my marriage. One of the exercises that he had me do was, hey, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to your wife, and I want you to ask her, ask her if there's one thing that I can work on, what would that be? What's one area, what's one problem, what's one area that kind of rubs you the wrong way that I do this thing? And guess what else I want you to do? Shut up. And I did what you did. I laughed. I said, what? Okay, all right. Don't have a comeback. Just shut up, listen, write it down, bring it back to me, and we getting in the lab. And we getting in the lab. Just one. Hey, don't
Wow.
overwhelm me with a whole bunch of stuff, because then I'm a feel attacked. Just give me one. Just one. But I'm not gonna say nothing back. I'm gonna just listen. And I brought it to him, took it back to him, and we got in the lab and we got to working. And I was doing it for me. I wasn't me first, just because there was narrative opportunity to improve, and I love a good challenge. Um, and again, when you dedicated to growth, you just dedicated to growth. And I implemented what he told me, and it was correct. Like I saw changes. But guess what happens? It's going back to what you said. You start strategically depositing. You know how you at a bank, like it's the emotional bank account of your relationship. Like, so when you're doing stuff like this, you're making deposits in your relationship. And what starts to happen is, it first of all, if the person cares about you, y'all care about each other. But what starts to happen is they do. So they start looking like, man, I really see you transform. Like when your person next to you saying like, wow, you are transforming. Like I appreciate you. Like I appreciate like, and it's not you're doing it to be performative. It's not you're like, oh, you hey, like you trying to prove something. It's not coming from that space. It's like, hey, look, this I can tell like this is creating some tension in what we have going on. I'm not even asking you to do anything. I'm going to control the part that I want to control, but this is something that's top of mind for me right now. I'm not even saying, hey, you need to go get a coach and you need to go fix it. I ain't coming from that energy. I'm going to fix this because guess what? As a leader, it things typically start with you. You set the tone, you set the trend, So if you're not doing that, to your point, who should be following you? And you'd be surprised how many deposits that you put into your relationship bank account when you do things like that. And that's just obviously that's just one example, right? Like, but don't just get caught up on that particular example. Just take the lesson from it. Is that maybe y'all aren't good with your finances and you need to step up as a leader and go find a program for y'all finances so y'all can just get a little bit better and get on the same page with your finances? Is it maybe y'all navigate some health stuff and you just say, you know what, I'm gonna go get us a trainer where we can do this together, or I'm gonna just get us a gym membership where we can work together, or hey, look, in the evening on these 2 days, we go into the park together. I like, but you just take an initiative and like be consistent with it. To your point, like you were saying earlier with the gym, be consistent with it. Like be that leader. Don't be like, well, she don't be doing nothing, or well, she need to do it. No, you do it. You do it. But
Man, being a leader, it is different. There's a difference between we just, cause with our culture, we just dating, we just talking, and then we boyfriend. It's about time you get to boyfriend girlfriend. That feels so up there. So then husband and wife, that feels so like ancient, like. But no, that's a real responsibility, and so it's not like a play title. And so I don't know. To your point, like I agree with. I think you have to trust. I think I really like the exercise that he had you do, and like the big takeaway for me was for me was not that he didn't just say, okay, let's. What do you think? He didn't just ask you, Ken. What do you think? Okay, like the big takeaway for me was asking her and getting her perspective. That was like the big key to me because I think that's something that I'm gonna say I and we as men we can struggle with. Especially we want to be good men. We want to be leaders. But like I said earlier, you don't want to be a tyrant, though. A good leader accepts the wisdom from his counsel, and she's going to be a part of your counsel. And so that's what you got to ask yourself. Why are you making her your wife, or why are you seriously considering her to be your wife if you don't value her counsel in some way?
yeah, and this is, believe it or not, it's tied to how we opened up the segment because are you are you there's a cost to building alone. And what the reason that I talked about all that was get one person in your corner that you said you was gonna do life with, or like at least the people that's in your circumference, get them on board first. And not, I'm just saying, like, we married, so we gonna talk in those terms. And obviously, if you listening, maybe you want to be married. Uh, don't listen to, oh, I ain't ever getting married again. Like, it just need to be the right one. And life happens. Tackle it when you get there, but I get it. I get there's some nuances that need to be considered. I get all that, but it's just the negativity part. That's just not what we're about here. We are about for people that want to be married, but then it's like, how do we make this work? And so we're coming from that space. So it's not that we're ignoring some of the other stuff out there, but that's not what our focus is. There's plenty of content if you just want to be in the echo chamber of that. And so get your girl on board, get your lady on board, get your bride on board first. That way you can get some synergy. as you're looking to identify brotherhood, the community, the Barney code, etc., and finding people, your tribe, and so get some momentum, and then when you meet that guy, and I'm pivoting a little bit to make it all connect. You got things, the home front good, the relationship good, then I did like identify somebody like, man, they're pretty cool, and just start working to build that relationship with that brother. That brother, like, man, that's a good brother right there. And because you like, man, what's good? How you doing? And, you just know how dudes be. Like,
Yeah.
hey bro, man, like you'd be surprised, man, because people be thinking the same thing and nobody's saying anything. Like, dang, man, I wish I had somebody to kick it with. Or, man, I sure wish I had somebody I can build something with. Like, man, we human beings. Like, we be having them thoughts, and then the thought will come and go. You don't make the call, and you don't, and then you just off on your laptop, not living in the real world, doing, and the time that it passes, and you keep like you keep having those moments, and you missing opportunities. Like, what? And it ain't no gay stuff. Like, hey man, like I got a couple of like, bro, you got like, bro, when you like, bro, you cool, like you good people, like, man, what we need to do to link up quarterly, what we need to do to have a monthly, whether we going to have cigars, whether we going to maybe we breaking down books, maybe like, hey, let's break down some books, like whatever, finance books, personal development books, and let's link up once a month and break those down and talk about that, whatever it is. But whatever that looks like, we got to stop acting crazy, like with this man macho. Hey, I want to reach out, I don't reach out,
Right. Not macho, and also just scared too. Like,
maybe not
stop being
macho,
scared.
maybe not that. Maybe it's probably more of just the uneasiness, being vulnerable, putting yourself out there in your own head. We all do it, right?
Right. I think, life is a series of choices. So before you sit there and just go, man, I'm a loner. I just can't seem to make friends. I just don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on, why I can't make friends. Because I know earlier in the episode I was saying, like, I'm new to the city. I still need to make friends. But I mean, just a quick example, like you were saying, us as men, we need to be around each other, especially in person. But if you can't get it too much in person, don't just go full, no contact. Get something virtual. Get a call with your cousin or your friend, somebody. But like, for instance, the other day, I made the choice to go play basketball before work. It was like 7 in the morning, and so long story short, I just went out there, and I wasn't expecting nobody else to be out there. I just was about to go put up some shots. Next thing you know, this dude came out there, and he came up to me. I wasn't gonna come up to him. I ain't gonna lie. I was just up there to get some shots up. But he came up to me and was like, "Yo, you trying to play 1v1?" And I was just like, sure, And so, long story short, we played 2 games. They were some good games too. And then at that point, though, I had a choice. I could
Mm.
just walk straight to my car and go on about my business and go start my shift because I had to go to work. Or some told me, because I had literally been talking about this, and I had been thinking about this. I've been saying I want community. I need some basketball running mates. Like, I need some people. So I just walked over to him and said, "Hey man, here's my number in case you're trying to run again." And it just gave my number, kept it simple. And it's funny. Me and him was laughing and joking a little bit. But yeah, man. And then he hit me up the next day, like, "Yo, bro, you come to the court?" And so the point is, that wasn't a major story, but it's an example of, like, that's why I say life is full of choices. Before I even went to the basketball court, I mentally made the choice of, like, man, no, I need to start putting myself in a space of making more male friends. I'm not saying everybody's going to be my best friend. Like you said, to your point, it's not about that. But us as men need to just be in contact with men in positive ways, whether that's basketball, tennis, some type of martial art, boxing, something. But we just get out there and just get out there more and more.
Now that's a great example. So for the audience, tag one man in the comments who you genuinely are building with. and share this video with them. Not to hype them, but to let them know you see the work. You see the work. You see the work. All right, so we halfway through. So we're halfway through. Like I said, make sure you subscribe, y'all. Share it if this is good content, y'all getting some value. Share this. We having some fun, man. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna be serious. We're gonna hold each other accountable, but we're gonna have fun. We gonna have some light moments. It's gonna be all the things. All right, so I'm trying out something. I'm trying something new. So a new segment. You didn't know nothing about this. It's called the lightning round. So
Uh-oh.
I might change that name later, but for now we're gonna go with it. It's the lightning round. So for this one, I intentionally had it where there was no prep for you, no where you can pre-plan, no filter, just answer rapid fire. So this would be raw. It's supposed to be raw. Let's go.
Let's
What's
do it.
one what's one financial decision you made that you thought was smart at the time and realize what now was you running from something? I'm gonna repeat that. Was one financial decision you made that you thought was smart at the time and realize now was you running from something?
Oh, that's deep. Actually, I got a good example. You know, cause I like the way you say running from something. I'm gonna flip it and say even running towards something too as well. Man, I told you this story a while back. This was back when I was in Philadelphia, fresh out of undergrad, my very first job. I was an account executive and I was working with small business owners. But long story short, I think I had got like a big deal. I wasn't making too much money, but I was making enough. I was making a decent, you know, I was doing well. But man, I think I got like my first deal or my first like big commission check or something like that.
Big money.
And I was just I was I was big money for the week, man. But I just remember I was like, yep. Okay, so I got my first commission check. Man, I'm gonna take my lady out somewhere nice to eat, man. And so we went to, for people that's in the Philadelphia area, we went to Devon. So if you know that, I don't even know if that's still there, but man, it's one of those like it was really nice. And so it's pretty much there. It's like it's really nice. Long story short, we went and so it was hilarious. So, you know, we went, you know, you dressed up, did our little thing. We went and then, you know, they brought the menu out and we were not able to really enjoy the meal. My lady really didn't feel comfortable because she knew that we weren't balling. You know, she knew that this was a celebration. She knew this was a great commission check, but still she was like something that I came to learn, and this is a part of a big trend. Like when you say running from something. You know, long story short, we had the dinner and you know, we ate and everything and we still had a good night out, but ultimately it was the lesson from that night was we don't have to ball out to celebrate. You know, I know you love me. You know, we don't gotta, you know, I really enjoy being on your team. You don't gotta shower me with this in this way, you know, because at that point I realized it was more about me than about celebrating her and celebrating the accomplishment. It was about my ego. And then the bigger
Mm,
lesson, I'll say the bigger lesson that you know still took me more time to learn was that if you're gonna be married, like why are you getting married to make decisions on your own? There's a difference between being a captain of the ship and being a leader versus being a solo decision maker. And sometimes
mm,
I feel like us as men, we switch the two up and we think that, oh, I run the marriage. I'm the man. So I gotta go off in this dungeon mentally and make these decisions and keep her locked out. But that's not the case. I'm not saying you gotta tell her everything that's going on and share her everything going on in your thought process. But I'm gonna speak to the men that are like me, that maybe didn't grow up feeling safe sharing their internal thought process. You need to find a way to have a healthy balance. I'm not saying share everything, but find a way to have a healthy balance to where your lady doesn't feel like an outsider in y'all's home and to you.
mm. Wow. You going deep on me. How old are you again? Remind me real quick.
That's funny.
Tell the folks how old you are.
Man, go 25, 25.
Big
Yeah.
25. Where they say where they say the insurance start to drop, but I don't. I'm starting to question that right now. But anyway, nah, that's good, man. That's good. Nah, that's perfectly stated. Uh, Number two, what does winning actually look like to you? Not the Instagram version, the real one.
Ooh, man, that's deep. So winning to me looks like, dang, I forgot. I don't know if you was the one that told me this quote. I think it was you. Like success is like defining a goal and hitting it. That's what I think success is like to me, and winning. And but I'm gonna get even more specific than that. To me, for me specifically, winning is not necessarily hitting the highest income marker, not getting the highest net worth. To me, winning is, I think that manhood and just adulthood is about, people that spin plates. I think it's about spinning several plates at the same time and keeping them all afloat, not letting none of them drop. And so that I like thinking of that analogy. And so to me, success is increasing the number of plates, not maxing them out, but just figuring out how many plates I want and then just keep getting better at adding plates without letting any of the rest drop. And examples of plates are my marriage, my career outside of my W-2, my actual, that my financial health, my physical health. And so what I've learned is that, you don't get props for just raising one plate super high. You still got to raise the rest. Or if you let the rest drop, that's not impressive. If you juggling and you just juggling one item, no, that's not cool no more. You just throwing something up and down.
Yeah. What I hear is having all of your pillars operating, like all the pillars: faith, finance, fitness, family, fun. That's what I hear. The pillars, having progress, and
And not getting tunnel vision. So like because for instance, like the family pillar, you don't want to just put your family pillar on the back burner, even if it's for a noble cause.
yeah.
You don't want to be. You got to put yourself on that on the other side of the equation. You don't want to be the family that got put on the back burner.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. No, you're right. I, okay, this is a good one. What's one thing your generation got completely wrong about money?
Mm, dang, that's deep. I think that is easier to make than it is because we see so many examples on Instagram and TikTok or just
Mm.
social media period of like people our age who are quote unquote running businesses. But I'm gonna give an example and I'm gonna give it from a W-2 perspective, from a sales perspective. People that's in sales, maybe this will apply. Everybody you see who's like a top earner isn't the best seller in the company, if that makes sense. That's not a knock against them. That just means that whether you know it or not, there are invisible forces that are helping them be the best seller in the company. And you need to go figure out what those invisible forces are. Are they really well positioned in their territory? Do they have really good connections with the leadership? Does the leadership trust them? Why does the leadership trust them? And so I feel like a lot of our generation just gets stuck on that surface level. Oh, such and such making money, so it's possible. No, why is it possible? And is the way they're making money, is that possible for you?
Mm, that's deep. That's deep. You hitting us with that. You hitting us with that goal today. You hitting us with that goal today. This your world. Um. All right, I got one more for you. If you found out to this man, wow. If you found out tomorrow that you would never be rich, that
Mm.
comfortable and stable was the ceiling, would you be okay with that? And be honest. This is a question. Let me think of process that. Think about it. Think about it. Let that sit. Because you got to think. We're in a day and age where in society where if you're not rich, you fail. You fail. So think about that. So if you found out tomorrow that you would never be rich, that comfortable and stable was the ceiling, would you be okay with that? And be honest.
I think to me it just depends on what's comfortable and stable because I can't be in debt
Nah,
with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta if I'm positive net worth and I'm just steady. I'm not saying my net worth will get to 1 million, but maybe I retire with like 100K or I don't know, 500,000 or whatever I just need. What's the number? 2 million that you just need to just retire comfortably. Is that what we mean when we say comfortable? Like just you have your 2.2 by retirement.
some
I can
people
do
say,
that.
oh, well, see, I think
I added
that
parameters.
you added some parameters on there. No, no, we're not doing that.
Nah, because not
We
everybody gonna have that. Nah.
no, and it's a very small percentage of the population that's what you just described is not the majority of the population.
I can't, man. I can't. I'm trying to fit and be like, get a deep answer of yes, I can. I ain't gotta be honest, man. I can't, but not because the thing is, though, I'm not like saying I have to actively chase the opposite and just dive into full, oh, ambitious. My full purpose is making money, and I'm just gonna be the money making man. But I think that I can design my life to where money has no choice but to follow what I'm doing because money is just a value chaser.
I hear you, but can you live with it? Live with not being rich, but having
I
a
and at this
comfortable
time,
life?
I think this ties into my answer earlier about what success is because that's what I mean. Like finances, that's just one plate. I don't care what career you're in, your career got a cap. And so, in terms of, so to your question about are you okay with that? That's going to eventually lead you to the question of, do I want to get into ownership? Because that's the real way of starting to build your money up. Because a lot of people think, oh, real estate or this or that. No, focus on your career, max that out, and then focus on ownership. You know, I'm not saying you got to go in order. You can do both at the same time, but that's the question, and that's just a matter of adding another plate. And that just goes back to my thing about success is just spinning these plates. And so if you choose to put that as a plate, sure, but you still don't let the other plates drop just because you're saying, oh, I gotta chase this now. You still got 6, 7 other plates.
So would you be okay? So would you be okay with not being rich?
I can't even answer that. That's like saying, would I be okay with not being black? I'm gonna be rich. That's why I'm saying like I don't know what to say.
Okay, so I'll answer it. No, I would not be okay.
I'm no. That's a good way. No, I'm not. I can't. No.
You know, yeah, no, and I don't need to add any parameters on there. I'm cool. Like no,
That's funny.
no. What it say? Be rich or die trying. That's what we doing.
Yes.
That's what we doing.
Dang.
Yeah. All
And
right.
honestly,
Yeah.
I because I think if you're not growing, you're dying. And I think that, I think something you taught me a while back, it's just that there's an illusion of a middle class. And that's a topic for another video, but I just can't do it.
Rich
Can't
or
do it.
poor, you got it or you don't. It's just the illusion in the middle, and you just got a whole lot of nice trinkets when you're in the middle. But it's really no wealth. You don't own payments. To wrap up this segment, drop your answers to the surprise question in the comments. If one that you want to answer, or you're like, oh man, I want to answer that question, drop it in the chat. We want to know where you actually are, not where you think you should be. That's
Mm.
important. Important. That's
Don't come in the
important.
comments flexing. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Like, don't be lying. Keep it real. The numbers don't lie. People do lie. I do. As we transition into another one, I do have one final segment for the day that I wanted us to cover. AI is coming for your job and your identity. University of Florida researchers formally named AI replacement dysfunction. I didn't know that was a thing. As a clinical condition in February 2026, the symptoms: anxiety, insomnia, loss of identity, hopelessness. The WEF calls it the identity crisis no one is preparing for. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei warned AI could eliminate half of all entry-level white-collar jobs within 1 to 4 years. Men's identity is disproportionately tied to work, and the conversation about what happens when that work disappears hasn't started yet. If your job was automated tomorrow, this is a question for you, not downsized, actually replaced, what would you do and how much of your identity would go with it?
Mm, that's deep. So,
Yeah.
man, who is that? Was that Bruce Lee that said like be like water? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, but I think you gotta to your point when you talk about identity. I know it's easier said than done. I'm younger, so that's probably why I made to say this. But you got to be able to just you can't, especially if you're my age, 25 or younger. I don't have no identity yet. I'm still building my identity, and so I'm willing to morph and shift and adapt to what the market's demanding. And so if yesterday the market wanted bean counters and today it wants automated bean counters, I'm gonna figure out how to help make automated bean counters, and I'm gonna figure out how to ride the wave because I see it as we get caught up in the morality of, oh, should the companies do it or not? It don't matter whether they should. No, Mark Zuckerberg didn't ask nobody whether he should spend that money on Meta. He spent it because it's his money to spend. So don't focus on the morality. Focus on, okay, the people with the money, what do they want? And so it's either a 50-50 shot. Either AI is going to win out and my job gets replaced, and I figure out how to be one of the people that's controlling the AI. Because, this is not Skynet. There's still humans in the machine that's helping it run. And so
Yeah.
either it wins out or it doesn't. And my job either comes back or it's, whatever. So but I would prepare for the yes bet. My job gets replaced. And I'm one of the people who I work for the replacers.
Got it. I love it. I love it. No, that's good. Speaking of job replacement, I've seen have you, if not you directly, but because you're just starting, have you seen peers be impacted and you knew somebody that was impacted, or you hadn't had that experience yet?
I don't know if I've seen it happen directly due to AI, just due to me just being in sales, just typical sales turnover. But I mean, it's definitely it's interesting. I'm curious to see how AI is going to be leveraged in sales because I'm starting to see people talk about hiring instead of hiring a BDR human, they're talking about hiring a full AI team, and so I'm starting to see that it's they're not even gonna. It's not even about getting let go. They're not about to hire you in the first place. Like you said, it's about to just be. They're not even considering humans for that role anymore. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think you said it best on this one. Be like water, make the adjustment, and is and find a way to cycle through. uh, I don't know if you've seen the chain. Have you seen that, like that chain cycle wheel where you going through all where it highlights all of your emotions as major
Mm,
happening, where you go like you're frustrated, you're mad, you're angry, like you going through all these emotions. The change is happening, but it's just really how fast are you going to be able to cycle through your emotions, like through those different cycles of emotions to come up to speed with the change that's happening. Because sometimes what happens is you have a lot of resistance to the change, and then it can leave you behind. And so my biggest thing is identity is a real thing, especially if it's something that you're doing every single day, like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 10 to 6. You throw drive time in there, is it could be more than 8 hours, right? Now we looking at 10, 11 hours, 11 and a half hours, whatever. On the weekend, you thinking about it, even when you out doing other stuff. So it's a significant part of where you spend your time. Your or especially big brands where they're wearing like a badge of honor. You should be proud. If you enjoy it, be proud of where you're working at. That's cool. Uh, but meaning having a coffee mugs, having a t-shirt on, when they going out having a swag, like, and they a billboard for the company even in downtime, which cool, be proud of where you at, but when the rug get pulled,
Mm.
I've seen it be devastating for people. Um, I will never forget. I remember someone, I had a conversation with someone, and they were that person. The company was everything to them.
Mm.
When they said, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, this is all I know. Like, think about how deep that is. Like, I can't imagine a world without like this place. Crazy. So my point of saying all that is you have to remember, and I know it's not easy, you have to remember it's Keon Inc., it's KB Inc., me, meaning you are the company that you work for is your client. It might be a large client, it might be your only client, but it's still a client. And y'all together for, you start there 3 months, 6 months, a year, all good. 2 years, all good. 3 years, all good. And the company making a pivot in the partnership in the contractual, say, hey, so grateful we partnered together, but we're going in a different direction. It's not the evil company now, because it's always been a company to company partners, like contractual agreement. They were the employee, you were the employee. But what I like to do is help people reframe how they view employment, of like, no, it's the business of you extending your services to that other company, that large company. And also you still need to be about your business, meaning investing in yourself, investing, getting coaching, still getting retooling up in AI, uh, as being one of the things. Like, hey, it's here. Let me have some business strategy meetings for Keon Inc., like the family Inc., Barney Inc. What am I doing to drive my business? They're doing what they need to do to drive their business, but what am I doing to ensure I don't get stuck when this one client decides to make a pivot? Am I am I exposed? Am I at risk in terms of, it's because if you're thinking of yourself like a business, your household like a business, it's like, okay, our top line overhead, how, what can we start to look for other sources, streams? And so a lot of people throw it around, streams of revenue, and that stream might be, it might just be you and your wife got streams of the income. Y'all got two solid careers. That's two streams of income. But then now the question is, what are y'all doing with those two streams of income that y'all are lending out your services to, and you getting revenue coming in? That's where the whole, it ain't about what you make, it's about what you keep. And but what happens is people start making that money, they start making good money in corporate, especially like if you're a high earner. What do? It's coming in, and you think the ride's gonna last forever, unless you
Mm.
own the expiration date. And so, how do you set that? Professional athletes have an expiration date. How many times you've seen, like, they were the man on the team, and then now they done got booted out the league, and they trying to find a job, and they almost got forced out. Don't be that person to get forced out. No, like, understand the game, know the game, Don't get caught up in the hype. Play the game to win, because no one is going to tell you how to run your individual business. It's not for you to allow a company that you partner with, that you lended your services to. It's not their job to tell you how to run your business.
Facts.
They're running their business. They run. So peep games, see how they moving, and you're like, oh man, okay. I need to have weekly operational meetings. I need to have, it could be financial budget meetings. I need to have strategy meetings on, hey, maybe I need to start recording a podcast, or hey, maybe I need to start doing this, or hey, maybe I need to get a side hustle, or hey, maybe whatever. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. But it's not the company's job. It's not the company's job. But on our side, in terms of AI, especially we're gonna be incorporate in terms of AI. First of all, what does it look like to start the process of being proactive in your household, KB Inc. For example, I can give you a real example. Me and Kim was on a call yesterday, and he was putting me on game with some Claude stuff. Like he was showing me Claude. Like we mentioned the Anthropic CEO. Well, he showed me how to download Claude on my desktop and create me an automation workflow. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Like, sure, I'm using Gemini, Chat GPT, but there's always something to be learned. And so that's what it looks like a tangible example of what it looks like to continue to grow. Even if you feel a little uncomfortable, you're like, what is this workflow stuff? Like, let me, and then you learn it, then you have it, and you learn something. And so we just got to be like water and keep moving forward. What would it mean to build an identity that isn't dependent on what you do for money? And how far are you from that? That's for you.
Wait, ask me again. You said, how far away am I from building an identity that's not focused around building money?
What would it mean to build an identity that isn't dependent on what you do for money? And how far are you
Ooh,
from that actually being true?
I like that. So to me, I think it's in phases. First, you gotta think about what it is you want to do. Like if money wasn't a thing, or like once you have quote unquote money figured out, money accomplished, what would you be doing anyways? And once you get that figured out, start working towards it. So now I think I kind of have it figured out. I enjoy teaching. I really like teaching. So that's something I enjoy doing. Teaching, coaching, but but specifically what I like about teaching is not like being an ill wordsmith and explaining diagrams. I just enjoy helping people learn stuff the way that, I enjoyed being helped when I was learning stuff. And so that's what I think, to your point, it's about having an identity that's not tied to moneymaker, ATM man. But what is your value? Because that's like I said, money just follows value. So if you have intrinsic value, then the rest will follow. That's what I think. And not just if you have intrinsic value. And if you get efficient at sharing it with other people and not hoarding it,
Mm.
then you got no choice but to, what do you get in exchange for that? Something.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. That's actually that's pretty good. I would say I'll answer the question, but I would say us doing this, we're not doing it for the money. Will we find ways to figure out how to monetize? Yeah, but it's really, that's kind of like an afterthought. Is really like, hey man, how can we create something that we feel good about, that we'll do it for free? We already have these conversations offline anyway. But and it's funny because in silos, when men talk to men one-on-one, what, like these conversations, these, some of them are had and there's some of them aren't. And so we want to even be talked about. But a lot of times, especially for men, we don't talk about some of these things. I have to give the ladies some kudos, because sometimes they naturally how you feeling, girl? Da, da, da. They kind of naturally check in on each other. I always mess with my wife. I said, "Ooh, the sisterhood is strong. Like the sisterhood is strong." And so, just but also just seeing how they engage with each other, how they go have dinner, but then they having dinner. And so, tell me how you really are. And they really, really understanding where they are at that time, their feelings and emotions. And so, not that as men we gonna be just meeting dissecting each other, like, because I'm not no professional, but I think it is something to being a little bit more authentic, being open with your thoughts, and not just, hey man, what's good? How you doing? Good. Because the reason I'm saying this is because my wife, I'll be with somebody and they be like, so what? How many kids they got? I'm like, I don't know. Why are you asking me that? but I'm like, but it reminds me of like, wait, you was just with that person for like an hour. You don't know that question? And so she challenged me, but she don't even know she's challenging me. I'm like, you know what? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm gonna ask that person next time I see him. And so it's funny how my wife she don't know. I be like learning from her, but I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. I was with them a whole hour, and I have no idea about that. So I don't know if you
That's
ever
real.
I don't know if you ever have that.
No, that's real. I definitely had those moments where she'll be like, how's such and such doing? It's like if you just talk to them. It's funny. Like I think they pride themselves on knowing the details. Like that's part of the intimacy to them. That's part of the connection. Us, we just coexist as men. We just happy to be in the same room, happy to be laughing together, happy to be on the game at the same time. We just happy that we caught each other.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I thought I'd just ask you that as we get ready to close. So as we close, and before we do that, what's one skill? This is for the chat. What's one skill you have that you genuinely believe that can't be automated? Drop it in the comments. Let's build a real list. Let's build a real list in the comments. All right, as we close, you know how this goes. Hey, nugget of the day, man. What's one nugget that you can share with the people? I know we talked about a whole lot today. If you had to put it in one sentence or two, what would that nugget be? And if you go a little bit long, it's cool.
Man, I'm gonna just piggyback off what you were saying. Like, it really is not your manager's job to develop you. It's in their job description, but it's not their primary concern. I promise it's not. And I'm speaking to my fellow Gen Z people that's my age and younger, we're early career coming into the workforce. I'm not saying this is not a knock against managers in leadership, but to your point, I found myself having that thought this week. I say, you know what? I'm putting too much, not too much. I'm not taking enough ownership. Let me flip it. I'm not putting enough proactivity and ownership in my own development. I'm just leaving it to my manager or leaving it to the company. And they're great. That's awesome. They're cool. But let's be realistic. Take it off of me. Anybody's manager and they have an employee, they have a direct report. They also have a wife. They also have a manager themselves. They also have a dog. They also have a cat, maybe. They also got this and that, and a cousin, and a mama and a daddy. You are probably eighth. You're probably sixth, seventh, or eighth on their priorities, just naturally. And so, but guess what? You can always make yourself first, and you should always make yourself number one. So, like we said last week, pay yourself first.
I love it. For my nugget of the day, no matter what, keep moving forward. I read it in the book, Reginald Lewis. Why do all the white guys get to have all the fun? No matter that's a quote that always stuck with me from that book. No matter what, keep moving forward. Hey, until the next episode. Hey, this is the Barney Code, and we out. We out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.